Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are doing good. So today in this video, we'll learn how to create custom filters for grids to allow users to refine data according to their specific criteria. Okay, so let me give a quick overview for those who don't know what a read-only grid is. So a read-only grid is a grid component that displays data to users but doesn't really allow them to edit the data directly within the grid. Okay, so without wasting further more time, let's get right into the video. So for that we need an interface designer. And how do we create an interface? We create it just like how we create any other object in Appian. Go to new, select the type of object you want to create from the designer menu. We need an interface. Just in interface, there are some standards which we need to keep in mind while creating an interface. Okay, start the name with the application prefix. Use Pascal case. Do not use special characters or spaces. Use an underscore between the application prefix and the rest of the name. Last but not the least, the name must be unique in the Appian environment. And also it should be meaningful. Cool? So let's name it as read-only grid. Provide the description to have the better understanding of this object. Okay? And then just hit create button. Now this is the designer, and here we can just drag and drop a grid component onto our interface canvas. Okay, wherever you want to display the read-only data. In here in search bar, you just have to search with read only. There you go. You just have to drag in and drop it wherever you want to display the data. Okay, so I'll just drop it. That's one way how you can do that. And another way is to build it from scratch. So we will not be going ahead with this. We will build it from scratch instead. Okay, switch to expression mode. In here you just have to type grid field. Okay, and here we have a couple of parameters. I would say not all of them are mandatory, but few of them are mandatory parameters, like label. So you have to name your grid first of all. Okay, so let's name it as read only grid. Cool. I will not go through each and every parameter because there are way too many parameters, and to keep my video short and simple, I will just give an overview of mandatory parameters. Okay, then we have this data. Okay, so the data which we want to display. So here we have to configure the data source for this grid to retrieve the data we want to display. Okay, this could be data from entities, records, or web services, or any other supported data source in Appian. Okay, easiest way to build a grid is by choosing a record type as the grid's data source. Okay, so I will be going ahead with record data. A bang record data function is used in a read-only grid and references a record using record type bang domain. And configuring field parameter can improve performance because by default a grid queries and displays all the data specified in the columns, which can potentially impact performance since it may result in querying more than data than necessary. So to alter this default behavior, we must specify the field which we want to display in the grid so that it only queries the data which is required. So we have configured the data source. Okay, now comes columns parameter, which determines which all fields to display in the grid and how we want to display them. So for that we will have to use abang grid column. Okay, columns, abang grid column. Here we have a couple of parameters like label, value, sort field, help tooltip. Okay, label is nothing but the name of the column. Okay, so we will be showing the model, right? Model. Then we have the sort field. It's completely up to you if you want to allow sorting or not. Then we have this value, which determines which field data to display. So we must use the function variable, that is fb bank row, to specify a field in the grid's value parameter. Okay, for example, let's say I want to reference the model field from this record as a column in the grid. So we would need to use fb bank row followed by a record field reference in the brackets, like FB bank row, okay, then brackets, and then you have to select the record type, okay, NZC equipment dot fields, and the field which you want to reference, okay, that's model. That's it. Here you can see all the models, okay, and the same we will be doing for type and year. I'll just copy and paste. Okay, here we just have to change the label, type, and then the field as well, field, the field which we have to reference, that's type, and here as well we have to change the label to year, and again the field year. That's it. Okay, if I just show you quickly, you can see the data in read-only format, right? Now we want to create some custom filters, okay? So how can we do that? First of all, let's try to hide this search bar from here using show search box parameter. False. By default, it is set to true. Now we can't see that search bar, okay? And we can also hide this refresh if you don't want by setting it to false. Show refresh button false. Cool. It is also gone, right? Coming back to custom filters, now I will be wrapping it inside curly braces because it's going to be an array of components. So first of all, we have to decide what kind of filters we want to provide to users, okay? These could be drop downs, text inputs, state selectors, etc. Okay, so depending on the type of data we are dealing with, I want to filter my data against year. Okay, so for year I will be going ahead with the text input. Cool. A bank text field, label is nothing but the name of a text field, year. Cool. Save into, where I want to save my data. If I input some data in my text field, where am I going to save it? I'm going to save it either in a local variable or a rule input. Rule inputs are used for passing data from one rule to another rule or process, whereas local variables are mainly used to store temporary data. Alright. Declare a local variable. Here I think comma is missing, and now I will be saving this in local year. Cool. Here is my text input. If I just type in something 2020, okay, see it's getting stored, but I can't see because I haven't used value parameter, which is very important. Now I would be able to see that in my input field. I can see it is getting stored, and I can also see my input data in the text field. Okay, if I just get rid of this value parameter, this input data will not stay in this text field, but still it will get stored, but that doesn't add up, right? So that's the use of value parameter. I have my input data in this local variable. Now I want my grid data to be filtered based on my input field. So here I have to filter this, right? I have to filter this record data. So in this filter parameter, I'll just use a bang query filter, okay, and will provide the field record type, select the record NZC equipment dot field. We will be filtering the data against year, right? So we have to select this field year, and then we have operator equals to, this filter is gonna apply this operator to the data. So whatever value we are gonna provide, it is gonna compare that value with this field, year field, okay, and if it finds the exact value, it is gonna filter that data accordingly. Okay, so in value we have to just provide local year, because the grid should be filtered based on the input in my text field, right? It says when comparing to value this and this. What if I just wrap it inside to integer? It's gone. Okay, so now if I just try to test this again. Okay, so when the value of operator is equal to, value must not be null or empty. In Appian, what happens if you are using equals to operator? So in value parameter, whatever variable you are mapping it with should not be null or empty. Okay, so in our case it's null, and that's why it's throwing this error. So we have to handle this using apply when. Apply when, this filter should only be applied when the value of this local ear is not null or empty. Okay, a bang is not null or empty. So this filter will be applied to the data when the value of local ear is not null or empty. If it is null or empty, it is gonna bring up the entire data. Okay, but if the value of this local ear is not null or empty, it is gonna filter the data based on the text input. Okay, so I can see all the 8 items. Now if I just filter it against 2022, so it has filtered the data and it is only displaying the data where the year matches with the text input. If I just make it 21, the grid has no items available where year is 2021. Okay, so that's how it is working. In the next video, I will be showing you guys that how we can export the filtered data in an Excel. Cool? So that's pretty much for the day. If you want more such videos, please like my video, share it as much as you can, and yes, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in my next video. Until then, cheers. Bye-bye.